injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A week that finds us waiting for the Jacksonville Jaguars to make some cuts. Very few names came out earlier today. There are going to be a lot of names tomorrow. The Jaguars have to get to 53 players by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We already saw quite a few teams make quite a few cuts, so we will certainly talk about that. DeAndre Prince, John Wolford are the two that were reported earlier today, and I would have to think those are agents that are telling ESPN's Jeremy Fowler that. So we'll comment on those, as those are the two names that have come out. Surprisingly, that other names haven't. Again, I go back to April into the Travis Hunter trade, and man, I didn't hear anything about that until like 48 hours, and even at that point, it was just kind of whispers in the wind, if you will. And then as Wednesday turned into Thursday, you started hearing a little bit more that it might happen, and then bam, it happens Thursday. James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli kept that very, very close to the chest, right? And now this, 37 guys getting released, we only know 2 names. And the Jaguars have to do it in the next 20 hours. So not a lot of leaks coming out of the Miller Electric Center, which I guess is good, because that certainly has not always been the case down there. But we'll comment on DeAndre Prince. We'll comment on Johnny Wolford. Also, Fred Johnson traded back to Philadelphia. Well, that's a weird deal, right? He spends 3 years in Philadelphia, signs with Jacksonville as a free agent, and then before cutdown day is traded back to Philadelphia for a 7th-round pick. I certainly have some thoughts on that as well. So a lot of Jaguar talk, as now after the cuts come in, all eyes towards Carolina. 13 days from today, Sunday, September 7th, for the opener against Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. On the college football circuit, we've made it. Week 0 actually had a couple of decent games. That Stanford-Hawaii game, it's a decent game. I thought Iowa State, Kansas State was a decent game. Dan Mullen's UNLV team survived as a 30-point favorite over Idaho State. That was obviously an appetizer on Saturday. Boy, we have a main course and then some coming up this week. LSU Clemson, Texas Ohio State, Notre Dame Miami, Florida State Alabama. Good grief. Absolutely outstanding stuff. Cannot wait for it. Some good games before then. Boise State, South Florida on Thursday. Gator fans, you want to take a look at USF, you play them in week 2. USF's got an interesting opener against Boise State. So we'll certainly talk a lot of college football tonight as well. Earlier this summer, in fact, last month, I had my conversation with Phil Steele, he of the Phil Steele preseason college football magazine. We only played it one time. We had him on live. We haven't replayed it. I was purposely waiting for this week for the openers of Florida and Florida State and Georgia and Miami. So we will do a deep dive on the Gators, the Seminoles, the Hurricanes, and the Bulldogs with the best preseason magazine out there. Phil Steele joins us coming up towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour, a little after that. And we will say a goodbye for now, and more importantly, a thank you to former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys and my friend, Dave Campo, who's moving back to Dallas tomorrow, as a matter of fact. He and his wife are leaving to go back to Dallas to be closer to their kids and the grandchildren. Coach has been nothing short of outstanding to me back when I was on XL Primetime, here on Hacker After Dark, as my co-host on the fifth quarter. To say that I will miss Coach is an understatement, but we will have him on periodically, and we will talk to Coach Dave Campo one more time as a Floridian. That conversation comes up in about 25 minutes or so. So we're glad you're with us on a Monday, a very busy Monday. This week is going to be very, very busy. There is no doubt about that. In fact, before we do a big deal of the night, Dylan Denmark, we got a little breaking news, non-Jaguar related, but nevertheless breaking news in the world of the National Football League. Let's do a little This Just In.
This Just In on Hacker After Dark.
So Cleveland had a log jam at quarterback. Well, not so much anymore. According to Adam Schefter, Kenny Pickett is being traded from the Cleveland Browns to the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas just lost Aiden O'Connell for 6 to 8 weeks due to injury. They need a backup for Geno Smith. Obviously, Kenny Pickett did not appear to be in the Cleveland Brown future plans. So Kenny Pickett on his way to Las Vegas. That leaves Cleveland with Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. Pretty interesting there. And we'll hopefully get more trades, more news like that, not only tonight, but a lot of that will go on tomorrow leading up to that 4 o'clock deadline where every NFL team has to be down to 53 players on their roster. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Well, a couple of news tidbits coming out of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's being reported, that cornerback DeAndre Prince and quarterback John Wolford are both being cut or released. Those are the only two names that we've seen all day. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, give credit where it's due, had both of them. That, to me, seems like a situation where the agents for both Prince and Wolford got in touch with Fowler to let him know what the situation is and to let him know their guy is being released. A couple of things just to react to those. I thought Christian Braswell was having a better camp than DeAndre Prince. I mean, that's as plain as I can make it. I thought Braswell was having a better camp. Now, the question is, and this is what I put on Twitter earlier today, Christian Braswell was having a better camp than DeAndre Prince. But does that guarantee Braswell a roster spot? I don't know if it does or not. If it does, that means he's cornerback 5. Because if you look at it, Tyson Campbell, Travis Hunter in some capacity, Jarian Jones, Jordan Lewis, right? Those are the guys at the cornerback position. Braswell would likely be number 5. But if they find somebody else on the street that they like better, what will that mean for Braswell? You also have to factor in Monteric Brown to this. Now, Brown has not practiced since basically the first week of training camp. He's missed the entirety of training camp. We'll hopefully get an update on his status coming up probably Thursday, the next time we talk to Liam Cohen. Hopefully we'll get an update on Monteric Brown, on Wyatt Milam, on Caleb Ransaw, Jalen McLeod, all the guys that have, Cole Van Lannen's another one, all the guys that have missed a significant portion of training camp. But with DeAndre Prince reportedly being cut, that leaves you with Campbell, Lewis, Jones, Travis Hunter is obviously going to be factored in there, and Christian Braswell, depending on what happens with Monteric Brown. And you look at the draft last year, Trent Baalke's final draft as the Jaguar general manager, the Jaguars have flat out cut the 2 fifth-round picks. They cut Keelan Robinson, and they cut DeAndre Prince. 2 fifth-round picks. Fifth-round pick is not bad. 2 of them from the 2024 draft that have both been released. Keelan Robinson earlier this offseason and DeAndre Prince reportedly earlier today. Johnny Wolford, no big surprise there. There's a logjam at quarterback. You have to figure Trevor Lawrence's backup is going to be Nick Mullins. Mullins came with Grant Udinski from Minnesota. He knows the system. He's clearly been quarterback 2 the entirety of camp. With Wolford, if you were going to keep another quarterback on the practice squad, it's much more likely to be Seth Hennigan, the rookie from Memphis, than it is Wolford. I thought Wolford did some nice things in limited time. Again, we just didn't see a whole lot of him. And then the Fred Johnson trade. Look, I'll say this about James Gladstone. I like what he's doing. You know, he was going to cut Luke Fortner. That's pretty obvious at this point. And instead of flatting out cutting Luke Fortner, he gets a good defensive tackle rotation piece in Colin Saunders back in return in a trade with New Orleans. It also appears they were going to flat out cut Fred Johnson. And instead of cutting Fred Johnson, they get a 7th round pick out of the Philadelphia Eagles. And you say, Hacker, well, it's only a 7th rounder. Well, that might have applied with GMs here in the past. I'm not ready to say, well, it's only a 7th rounder with James Gladstone. Jonah Monheim was only a 7th rounder. Looks like he's going to be a pretty good player, right? LaQuint Allen Jr. was only a 7th rounder. Looks like he's going to be a pretty good player. You know, nationally, Gladstone got a lot of grief for, quote, trading the farm for the Travis Hunter deal. To me, that's people being lazy. That's people just seeing, oh, a first-round pick in 2026. It's got to be an enormous deal, an enormous haul. Not really. Jacksonville has 12 draft picks in 2026, 4 of which are going to be in the top 100. They have their 2nd rounder, and they have 3 third-round picks in 2026. You now add this 7th rounder from Philadelphia, that gives you a dozen draft picks in 2026. Ammunition to trade up, to trade back, to do whatever you want. Again, James Gladstone's not resting on his laurels, man. He's getting after it. I applaud what he's doing. I think he's doing a good job. They were going to cut Fortner. They were going to cut Johnson. And instead, they get a defensive tackle in Colin Saunders that will be on the team. And they get a 7th round pick next year to add to their draft capital in 2026. In my book, might be considered minor moves, but 2 positive moves. 2 thumbs up for James Gladstone for making those deals. Again, we're going to say our goodbyes, our thank yous to the head coach, Dave Campo. He's moving back to Dallas, actually leaving tomorrow. We're getting in just under the wire. And we'll have the head coach on with us here on Hacker After Dark in less than 20 minutes. Coming up next, I got thoughts on the 53-man roster. I got thoughts on Saturday night's preseason finale. I got thoughts on maybe some of the guys that will be released tomorrow here in Jacksonville. I will share those thoughts with you next on a Monday night here in Northeast Florida. It's Hacker After Dark.
The atmosphere of a college football Saturday is electric.
Get pregame news and notes you need to know before the games begin.
It's the Bueller Aaron Plumbing College Kickoff.
Served up by Sonny's Barbecue.
Friday night at 6 on 1010XL.
Jaguars football is officially back. Be there as number 2 overall draft pick Travis Hunter, quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and new head coach Liam Cohen take the field for the first time during the 2025 NFL regular season. Secure your seats for when the Jaguars take on the Panthers September 7th by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
Summer's winding down, and we know you want to enjoy what's left of it. But before you celebrate this Labor Day weekend, plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
Check out my blog at 1010XL.com
so you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count. Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Shuffle up and deal for a cause. Let's go all in to help others out. Join the Hold'em for Life poker tournament coming up September 20th at Blessed Trinity Parish Hall. Every hand helps the Women's Help Center support expectant mothers and newborns.
Find out how you can be part of the cure for blood cancer at the Light the Night Walk at VyStar Ballpark November 22nd. Take the first step at lightthenight.org.
Dreams Come True is a local wish-granting organization giving dreams and special times to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Find out how you can help at dreamscometrue.org.
City Rescue Mission has been providing food, clothing, and love for over 70 years to the homeless in Jacksonville. If someone you know is struggling, learn more about the City Rescue Mission at crmjax.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
I know you love sports, so why not take that passion and make a difference in your community as a volunteer coach with the YMCA? Whether it's soccer, basketball, volleyball, or flag football, the Y is always looking for positive role models to help kids grow in both skills and character. Even if you've got no coaching experience, that's fine. We'll provide the training. Step up, give back, and be the coach that makes a difference. To volunteer, visit your local Y or fcymca.org.
E to the T here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find the scratch kitchen that comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Come on, somebody.
Lee Brice. What you know about that tour? Saturday, September 13th, St. Augustine Amphitheater. With special guests Ashley Cook and Louis Brice. Award-winning country sensation Lee Brice. On sale now at AXS.com. Don't miss Lee Brice Live.
Jacksonville is my hometown and nobody knows roofing like me. I'm Ronnie, the owner of Brandon Roofing. We handle everything from repairs to full roof replacements, start to finish. We give honest quotes, use quality materials, and clean up like we were never there. We all look at Google reviews, so go ahead and check out ours. We're proud of all our 5-star ratings. I would say we treat you like family, but some people don't like theirs. Go to BrandonRoofing.com today to schedule your free roof quote.
License number CCC 1328006.
If life blindsided you tomorrow, was your family struggle? I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial, and I can help. One call could protect your family for life. 904-885-9566. Harborstone Financial.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Till 10 o'clock. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Some interesting things going on. A lot of trades going on, right? The Jaguars have made a couple. Colin Saunders last week, trade Fred Johnson yesterday. We just saw Kenny Pickett get moved from Cleveland to Las Vegas tonight. I suppose this happens every year around this time. It just seems like there's a lot of trades going on. Nothing, monumental, but nevertheless, a lot of trades. And I do think it's interesting, too, that we spend so much time in the offseason talking about contracts, right? And guys holding out. The Terry McLaurin saga in Washington. The Trey Hendrickson saga in Cincinnati. The Micah Parsons saga in Dallas. Well, 2 of those sagas have been cleared up today. Funny what happens when preseason football is over and you start having to get ready for the regular season, right? It's always amazing that these contract disputes seem to work themselves out in late August, early September. Did you see this earlier today? Terry McLaurin, 3 years, $96 million to remain in Washington. Trey Hendrickson, a 1-year deal to remain in Cincinnati. The only one that hasn't been cleared up yet is Micah Parsons, and you'd have to think that something will get done there sooner rather than later. Keep in mind, Dallas plays the first game of the year. They're in 10 days. They're a week from Thursday in Philadelphia against the world champions to kick off the NFL season. So I saw that. I also saw some releases going on around the league. I know, like, everybody's attention here in Jacksonville went up when Kyle Trask got released in Tampa, or is going to be released in Tampa tomorrow. Here's my thought on that. If he wasn't a former Gator, about half the Jaguar crowd wouldn't care, because him being a former Gator magnifies it. And if he hadn't spent 1 year with Liam Cohen, no one would care. But because he was the backup for Liam Cohen in Tampa last year, and because he's a former Gator, well, then all of a sudden, everybody thinks it's a great idea to bring Kyle Trask to Jacksonville. My buddy texted me earlier today. I'm going to say to you the exact same thing I said to him. If anybody within reason, obviously Patrick Mahomes is not getting traded to Jacksonville. So within reason, if anybody not named Trevor Lawrence within reason starts 3 or more games for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2025, the season's over anyway. It doesn't matter. If it's Nick Mullins, if it's Kyle Trask, if it's Dylan Denmark, if it's Ryan the Hacker Green, if it's Joe Blow on Southside Boulevard right now, it won't matter. The Jaguars are not good enough to survive Trevor Lawrence being out for an extended period of time with the in-reason options at quarterback. Now, would it be fun to bring in a former Florida Gator? And would it be fun to have a guy that was in Liam Cohen's system last year? Sure, I guess. Nick Mullins was also in that system. Nick Mullins was with Grant Udinski under Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. Nobody cares about that here locally because he wasn't a former Florida Gator and didn't have a year with Liam Cohen as a backup. Those are the two reasons why everybody all of a sudden wants to bring Kyle Trask in. If they bring Kyle Trask in, great. Again, my question to you is, why didn't they do that this offseason? Because he was a free agent. I remember when he's re-signed in Tampa. Kind of caught me off guard. I was like, I thought, Jacksonville would have definitely been interested. Maybe it was a money issue. I don't really remember. I just know that he was available until he decided to re-sign in Tampa. But again, I don't care if it's Kyle Trask, if it's Nick Mullins, whoever it is. If somebody not named Trevor Lawrence within reason starts 3 or more games for the Jaguars, the season's over anyway, so it doesn't really matter, in my humble opinion. Other opinions I had from Saturday night. If the roles were reversed, and that was the Jaguar starters out there on Saturday night that went 3 and out offensively against the Miami Dolphin third-string defense, the sky would have been falling here in Jacksonville. That was Tua. That was Jalen Waddle. That was 4/5 of their starting offensive line. They were without Achane, Tyreek Hill, one offensive lineman, and Darren Waller. So 7 of the 11 Miami Dolphins that were out there, including Tua, was their starting offense. And the Jaguars did not play their first string and didn't play a majority of their second string. The Jaguars did not play 37 guys. And the Jaguar defense, a bunch of young guys, young, hungry guys looking to make an impact, looking to make the team. For those first 2 Dolphin offensive drives, were physically beating the Dolphins starting O-line. Man, if the roles would have been reversed, Jaguar fans would have been freaking out. Kind of got amused by that. As far as individual performances, look, the 53-man roster, don't you have to keep either 92 or 95 on the team? Strigow or Green, the 2 youngsters. And whichever one you don't keep, don't you have to hope that you get the other one through waivers and put on the practice squad immediately. Those are two good young football players. Now, look, at the edge position, we know Hines Allen and Walker, obviously. Agba, yeah. Smoot, yeah, but he can play both inside and out. You keep B.J. Green or Strigow or Yasir Abdullah? I don't know. Where does Dennis Gardeck fall into that? I don't know. But I just think 92 and 95 have at least shown me enough to where I think one of those guys at least should probably be on the 53, and the other one absolutely needs to come back on the practice squad if at all possible. Other things that stood out. I thought 50 was pretty good. Combs, I like him. But again, I don't know where you put him. Because a linebacker, you already have Foye, you already have Devin Lloyd, you already have Ventrell Miller, you already have Jack Kaiser. That's 4. You put Combs over Muma? All right, I'll listen to you on that. I did not think Muma had a particularly good game, but again, it's hard to judge Chad because he's got a big rock on his hand because of an injury that he suffered in camp. I think Chad Muma's a good football player. I just don't think he's probably in the future plans after this season. And is it worth cutting Muma to maybe keep Combs on the roster? Perhaps. Offensive line-wise is interesting now because remember 2 weeks ago, man, you had Fortner and Fred Johnson and all these guys. Well, now all of a sudden Fortner's gone. Now all of a sudden Fred Johnson's gone. Wyatt Milam's a bit banged up. Look, I think your starters are cemented at this point. It's Walker Little, Ezra Cleveland, Robert Hainsey, Patrick McCarry, Anton Harrison. I think your backups right now are Jonah Monheim, Chuma Edoga. And then where do you go? Wyatt Milam, if he's healthy, right? Obviously. Cole Van Lannen's probably back in the equation. But again, he's missed time in camp. I like the trades they made to get something for Fortner and for Johnson, but I'm really going to like them when the Jaguars are healthy, with a healthy Milam and a healthy Van Lannen. We'll hopefully get more information on those two guys on Thursday when we talk to Liam Cohen. If we go out there against Carolina on September 7th with Little, Cleveland, Hainsey, McCarry, Harrison, and the backups are Chuma Edoga, Jonah Monheim, Wyatt Milam, Cole Van Lannen, I will be absolutely okay with that. But if Milam and Van Lannen aren't ready to go yet, are we a little short at offensive line right now based on the Fortner and based on the Johnson trades? Something to think about. Again, they got to be down to 53 tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Reports out that DeAndre Prince has been released already. Reports out Johnny Wolford has been released already. And those are the only 2 reports that have really come out. Jeremy Fowler had both of them. And again, in a situation like that, that to me appears that the agents called Fowler to give him a heads up, to give their clients a head start on potentially trying to find work sooner rather than later. 35 more guys have to be cut by 4 o'clock tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a pretty crazy news day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. My guess is that Chad Muma is probably going to be cut. My guess is that either Tyler Lacey or Jordan Jefferson's probably going to be cut. Because I'm telling you, they're keeping Colin Saunders, and I think they're keeping Austin Johnson. They're keeping those 2 veteran defensive tackles, interior defensive linemen. And you already have Mason Smith. You already have Eric Armstead. You already have Devon Hamilton. How many are you keeping? Because if you keep Johnson and you keep Saunders, that's 5. I don't think there's room for Jefferson and Lacey. I think one of those guys is probably gone. And based on what happened Saturday, I thought Jordan Jefferson played pretty well. So I don't know what they're going to do there. That'll be interesting. Safety also, right? Can you keep all of those guys? Eric Murray, Dewey Wingard, Antonio Johnson, Darnell Savage. Caleb Ransaw, Rayon Lane, Daniel Thomas? I doubt it. Is it Rayon Lane versus Daniel Thomas? How do they feel about Antonio Johnson? A lot of things that we need answers on that we're going to get by tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock when the Jaguars go from 90 down to 53. We've gotten a lot of answers for the last 4 or 5 years from a guy that I did not know. I knew his name. I knew who he was, but I did not know him until 2021. Actually, 2020. It was right around COVID. I think right before COVID is when I met Coach Dave Campo. And in 5 years, he became one of my best friends on the radio station. There are good dudes, and then there is Dave Campo. He is an outstanding human being. One of the nicest people you will ever meet. We're losing him tomorrow back to Dallas. He and his wife are going to back to Dallas to get closer to their children and their grandchildren, and right on. Absolutely, that is the right thing to do. Jacksonville's loss is Dallas's gain. So I wanted to have Dave Campo on tonight, A, to say thank you for everything he's done for me, for this show, for the audience of 1010XL. Also want to talk a little Jaguars with him as well. So we'll have the head coach coming on here in just a moment before he heads back to Dallas tomorrow. Before we do that, we're givers here on Hacker After Dark, man. It's what we do. We know the hardworking men and women of Jacksonville, Florida, are looking for something on a Monday night at 8:32 Eastern Standard Time in the evening. And I have a pair of tickets for you right now to AEW, All Elite Wrestling. Returns to Daly's Place, October the 8th. If you want to go see the stars of AEW down at Daly's Place, All Elite Wrestling, simply be caller 4 right now at 641-1010, and Dylan Denmark will hook you up with 2 tickets to AEW October the 8th at Daly's Place. Dave Campo joins me next.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, got a minute?
Always. What's on your mind?
This time of year, my air conditioner is running non-stop. Hot all day, hot all night. It has to run constantly just to keep up.
Well, that's what they do.
But if something happens to it in the middle of a 2-week heat wave, I'm in trouble, Jason. I can't wait 3 days or 2 days or even the next day for service. If you can't get someone here today, I'm sweating by tonight. What if it breaks, Jason?
You call me, pal. That's what we do. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
But you're probably swamped with calls from everyone else's AC that ran nonstop and then broke in a heat wave, so they called you because that's what you do.
But we always have room for an emergency. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we have techs standing by because we know these things happen.
So I don't need to worry. Wow. That time you calmed me down without even using the sunglasses.
Oh, I was reaching for them.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentist and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Andersen. You've seen and heard our ads where I talk about Renewal by Andersen's exclusive Fiberx material, twice as strong as vinyl, incredibly energy efficient, and custom built to fit your home perfectly. But if you haven't reached out yet, August only, Renewal by Andersen is offering triple savings: $300 off every window, $825 off every patio door, plus 0 down, 0 payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Schedule your free consultation today at bestwindowsflorida.com. License number CGC 1527613.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Sports fans, this is David Garrard here. And if you're suffering from orthopedic soreness, make an appointment at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where everyone is treated like a pro.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Did you know that for every inch of rain on a 2,000 square foot roof, 1,500 gallons come off the eaves of the roof? Call Clearwater Seamless Gutters and Drainage, and we'll design a plan using our Clearwater Seamless Gutters, and we'll connect those gutters to a Clearwater drainage system to solve your erosion and standing water issues.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters. And drainage, too.
SeamlessGuttersJacksonville.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The preseason is over for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The regular season now 13 days away. All eyes point to the Carolina Panthers coming in here on Sunday, September the 7th. Let's look back on the preseason. Let's talk about the tough next 24 hours in the NFL with all the cuts that are coming down. And let's also just simply say thank you. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. This will be the last conversation I have with Coach as a Floridian. He and his lovely wife are moving back to Dallas later this week to be closer to their family. Coach has been so great to us over the last few years, and we love having him on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how we doing, pal?
I'm doing good, and thank you for the kind words. I've really enjoyed, I've enjoyed this community. I've enjoyed having you as a friend, and I hope to continue to do that. It's a little mixed on the move for me because of the family situation here as well with the radio station and all you guys.
Well, we certainly understand that, but there's nothing like your kids, your grandkids, so we certainly understand you guys wanting to be closer to your family back out there in Dallas. Coach, a little bit of football, but to start here, a tough next 24 hours in the National Football League. We've already seen a lot of cuts begin to roll in. Something like 1,200 guys are going to be released. You know, if you figure 37 guys off of 32 different NFL clubs. You've seen this as an assistant, as a coordinator, and obviously as a head coach. You've had conversations with guys you are releasing. What is the next 24 hours like? It's a tough part of the business.
Well, it's definitely very difficult, obviously for the players, because, they've been, for most of them, this has been a dream for, since they started playing as little leaguers. It's a tough day for them, but I'm going to tell you, it's a tough day for the coaches as well. These guys have all been with them, some guys for years, other guys since the draft, or even as free agents. They're part of a family over there, and it's very difficult to tell somebody that their dream is over. What I tried to do, and what I'm sure Liam Cohen will do, because I think he understands this day well, that you tell them, look, this doesn't mean, if this is your dream, this doesn't necessarily mean it's over. There's some other, leagues out there. There's also, you've been putting your resume on film in the preseason football games for a lot of people to see throughout the league. So, it's a difficult time, but at the same time, you thank them. They'll thank them for their service, and then life goes on.
The head coach, Dave Campo, with us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how much in the coaching meetings and then ultimately the head coach and the GM meetings, how much fist pounding is going on those tables with maybe coaches fighting for guys to stay on the 53-man roster?
Well, I don't think that I would consider it a fight. I would say that there's discussion with everybody. I think the decision makers obviously are going to make the final decision. But, there are guys that, the special teams coach is going to say, hey, I really need this guy. And then they have to make a decision on whether or not they might let somebody go that might be a better every down football player, but doesn't necessarily help this football team. Remember, the game is won. I always felt like you had to win two phases in a game to win. And they're not always the same two. One game it might be the defense has a great game and the special teams have a great game. The offense is just so-so. The next game it might be the offense and special teams, or the next it might be offense defense. I think you try to put the best 53 guys on the field, and sometimes at the end of the roster, the guys that make it are special teams guys that are going to be core guys that play on basically almost every special team.
I guess, Coach, one of the silver linings that COVID provided, not many silver linings of COVID, but one that it provided in the NFL is the practice squad, right? It went from 5 to 16. So even though 37 guys are going to be released from every team, some of those guys will now be brought back on the practice squad.
And that's a great thing, to be honest with you, because, it used to be when back when they first started the practice team, they didn't make very much money. Today they make a darn good living during the football season. And so not only that, but it's even more important now with only 3 preseason games, to where you really, if you're a young undrafted guy, and there's plenty of undrafted guys now, Hack, that make it in this league, some of them pretty darn good. So being on the practice squad, they're just showing themselves off more with the coaches that are there. They can develop because they are on the field and they are honing their position. For example, if they're a defensive back on a scout team getting ready to play somebody, they're playing against the best. They're playing against the best receiver you have on the ball club during practice, and to hone their craft. So, and every team in the league has pro scouts, and they've looked at guys, and they're obviously going to talk to people around the league, and they might find out about a guy that's on another practice squad, or they already know a guy on the other practice squad, and during the season, they pull them off that practice squad to go to another team. So I'm glad that there are 16 guys. It's good for them, but it's also good for the team.
Final moments with the head coach, Dave Campo. Coach, since the last time you and I spoke on the air, the Jaguars have made a couple of trades as they start finalizing their 53. Luke Fortner to New Orleans for Colin Saunders, the big defensive tackle. And then last night, interestingly enough, Fred Johnson, who spent the last 3 years in Philadelphia, gets traded back to Philadelphia for a 7th-round pick. And the way I look at that, Coach, is on the surface, it appears Fortner and Johnson might not have been in the plans for the 53-man roster. And to get a player like Colin Saunders and any draft pick in return for Johnson, boy, that appears to be solid work by Dave Caldwell. Or I'm sorry, Dave Caldwell, by James Gladstone.
Yeah, don't put Dave Caldwell in the same sentence right now, I don't think.
No. James Gladstone. I was looking at Dave Caldwell on a piece of paper, but James Gladstone.
Yeah, I think, first of all, people covet their draft picks, believe me, whether it's the 7th round or the 1st round. People don't like to give up draft picks, because even if it's not a 7th round, and you'd love to hit on a 7th round guy, which I think they have with Monheim, for example, that's a big deal. But at the same time, when you have extra picks, you can move during the course of the draft. So I thought Fred Johnson added something, but obviously they like their young players. And that's going to be shown up, I think, in this, when you see the cuts. I think there's going to be a lot of young players that might not have even shown quite as much as a couple of veterans that are going to take positions.
I like it. I like what Gladstone did, no question about it. The offensive line is interesting now because all of a sudden there was a lot of depth, and we'll see about Van Lannen's injury. Fortner's gone. Fred Johnson's gone. We know Milam is a little bit banged up as well, so we'll see how it ultimately all shakes out. Coach, final thought on the Jaguars. You've been to basically every training camp practice. You've seen 3 preseason games. Just a broad overview. What do you think about Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, Tony Boselli, and this roster heading into 2025?
Well, I think they're doing a good job, and I think they improved the football team, in my opinion. And, it may not show, what their end game is by the first 4 or 5 ball games, but it will show through the course of the season that it's not easy to have a new scheme and jump out there, but I think that they've got a pretty good unit right now. I think they're stronger through the 53, which I think is important. I think it showed up against the Dolphins with what the defense did with their second unit against the Dolphins, a lot of firsts. I think they've improved that part of the defense, and I think that will pay dividends. So I'm excited about it. I'm also realistic because we went through that process with the Cowboys, 1-15 the first year, 7-9 the second, 13-3 the third, and, in a Super Bowl. So, they've improved it. I like what they do. They don't stand pat, and they're willing to make changes.
The head coach, Dave Campo. Coach, this is certainly not a goodbye. It's more of we'll talk soon, and hopefully we'll talk as early as a couple of weeks from now once the regular season gets underway. But before you left for Dallas, I just wanted to have you on Hacker After Dark just again to thank you. I mean, we're talking 4 or 5 years with the 5th quarter, when I was on XL Primetime, when I got moved to the evenings to Hacker After Dark. You have been so gracious with your time. You've done so much for me. You've done so much for my son. A couple of things you did off the radio that really helped my son out, and he had a great time spending time with you. And I just wanted to say thank you for everything you've done. There's a lot of good dudes in this world, but Dave Campo is right at the top of that list.
Well, thank you. And again, for the kind words. You have become my friend. That's the most important thing. And you've got a beautiful family. And best of luck to you. And listen, anytime you want me on, you just give me a text or a holler and we'll work something out.
Coach, what is the plan when you get out to Dallas? A lot of family time with the kids and the grandkids?
Yeah, and there's a couple of media opportunities, that I might look into. So we'll see how that goes. But just like here, it's my hobby, So we are moving back to be close to the kids and be able to travel to Arkansas where some of the kids are. So I'm going to be kind of locked into that. But I'm going to still do some stuff here with Joe Cowart with Primetime and with the podcast, Campo and Joe, on Thursdays. So I'm not forgetting about the Jaguars and you guys, believe me.
Yeah, we're not going to forget about Coach. Again, Coach will join us throughout the year. Again, not goodbye, but we will talk to you later. Coach, have a safe trip out to Dallas. Get settled in. We'll talk in a couple of weeks. And again, thank you for everything, my friend.
You got it, Hack. Have a good day and give a hug to your family.
I did not see this one coming.
Radio play-by-play is like stepping in a theater in your mind.
As good as it gets.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is now available at the Fresh Market Spirits and Wine. The Fresh Market Spirits and Wine is a new adult beverage store offering spirits, wine, beer, and accessories at A1A North in Ponte Vedra, a first-of-its-kind destination for thoughtfully curated spirits, wine, and beer as only the Fresh Market can. And now, you can get Brackish Vodka at the Fresh Market. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Jaguars. Did you know that basketball and volleyball were invented at the YMCA? That's right, and even today, the Y continues to lead the way in youth sports programming, from toddlers just starting out to teens ready to compete. The Y offers skill development, recreational play, and competitive leagues, all in a fun, supportive environment. Get your child in the game to build character and skills at the Y. Registration is now open for youth volleyball and soccer at fcymca.org.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Pizza to Tea here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find the scratch kitchen that comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Come on, somebody.
Jax is more than a city, beaches, suburbs, or a destination. We're a community that takes care of each other. I'm former Jaguar Tom McManus. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling is dedicated to serving you with respect and integrity. From estate cleanouts to furniture and appliance removal, we handle it all. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We're here for you. We're veteran-owned and operated. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
Your grandfather was stronger at 50 than you are at 40. Want to know why? His testosterone was 30% higher than yours. That's not genetics. That's modern life killing your hormones. Stress, chemicals, sitting, it's all crushing your T levels. Male Excel reverses it. Prescription testosterone, thyroid optimization, personalized to you. Over 100,000 men are already winning again. Your turn. Try MaleExcel.com. Free assessment, because you deserve it. Your family deserves it.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Frank Franzi here for Coyle & Sons Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports memories. Remember Morton Anderson missing a chip shot field goal that launched the Jags into the playoffs in 1996? You know who doesn't miss? Coyle & Sons Fencing. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821. That's 904-356-4821. Or visit CoyleJax.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E, Jax.com. Coyle & Sons, keeping your business and home safe for nearly a century.
The playoff-bound Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp are in full swing at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark. Your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game, and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Nearing halftime here on Hacker After Dark. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up till 10 o'clock. More NFL talk coming up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Cody Carpentier of Roster Watch, as we'll look at the Jaguar roster, which will be finalized down to 53 players by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. A lot of news in the National Football League today. If you missed it this afternoon, a couple of those contracts that we've been talking about for a long time have been settled. Amazing what happens when that calendar begins to turn from late August to early September and the NFL regular season is right around the corner. The Washington Commanders and Terry McLaurin have got a done deal. 3-year extension for McLaurin, $96 million. As Scary Terry remains in Washington. Trey Hendrickson back with Cincinnati. 1 year, what is he, $14 million? So we're probably going to go through this song and dance with Hendrickson again next year. But he's back in the fold for Cincinnati. Of course, the Jaguars will see Trey Hendrickson in just a couple of weeks, right? Week 2, September 14th, Jaguars go to the Cincinnati Bengals. Another guy the Jaguars thought they were going to see was Joe Mixon, running back for the Houston Texans. Well, they might see him, but it won't be in week 3 when Houston comes to Jacksonville. The Texans announced today that Mixon is going to miss at least the first 4 games for Houston, as he was not activated from the non-football injury list, or he won't be by tomorrow at 4 o'clock. The Texans announced that, which means he is now required to miss the first 4 games, which will mean week 3 here in Jacksonville, Houston will be without Joe Mixon. Now, they did sign Nick Chubb in free agency, and apparently he's looked good. They still have former Florida Gator Dameon Pierce, so they do have a little bit of depth at running back, but clearly Mixon is the best running back they have, and they will not have his services for the week 3 matchup here against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Denmark, how big a deal is that for Joe Mixon to miss the first 4 games for Houston?
It's a big deal. I remember last year when he got hurt, and when he came back, it was like there's a clear difference in this offense with him coming back, and you could definitely tell the offense is a lot better with him. The offensive line probably is not as good as it was a year ago, and with CJ Stroud, you want any help you can get. So relying on who was Nick Chubb, Dameon Pierce, and whatever running backs they have left, definitely a downgrade for the first 4 weeks.
I'll tell you this, and I don't normally have teal blinders on, and I don't necessarily think that's the case right now. I'm just looking at the Texans as a whole, trying to look at it from a non-biased Jaguar point of view. I don't like the Texans roster. I like their defense, fine. I hate their offense. Outside of CJ Stroud and Nico Collins, I mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about Christian Kirk,
Jaden Higgins,
Dalton Schultz, a couple of rookies, right?
The 2 rookies they expect to do pretty well.
Well, that's wonderful to expect them to do that. Let me ask you something. How many 3rd-round rookies come in and make an impact at wide receiver in the NFL? I mean, in the history of don't even go history, go back 10 years. Find me 3rd-round wide receivers or lower as rookies that come in and make a quote-unquote big impact. It doesn't happen very often. Has it happened? Yeah, probably. Has it happened very often? No. So if Houston's banking on a couple of rookie wide receivers getting their offense over the top, well, that tells you a lot about where that offense is right now. Stephon Diggs gone. Tank Dell won't play due to injury. Joe Mixon out the first 4 games at least. I don't know. I think a lot of people are drinking the Texan Kool-Aid. I might be facing reality when we do our picks next week. I was on Houston's bandwagon a month ago. I'm not sure if I'm there anymore. And finally, did you see this? Desmond Watson cut in Tampa. Never played a game. Was trying to get his weight under control. 450 pounds is what he was reported as in Tampa. I think he actually dropped some of that weight. Be interesting to see what happens with Desmond Watson, the former Florida Gator. But Tampa did release him earlier today. By the way, Denmark, you and I are doing Gator Bites, right? Starting Friday?
According to your text, yes.
I heard that. Yeah, congratulations. That'll be fun. You got Friday Night Lights. You got Gator Bites.
I just can't escape you.
Denmark is moving up in the world, ladies and gentlemen. I'm proud for you, man.
Hey.
Speaking of Gator Bites, let's talk a little Florida Gators, a little Florida State Seminoles. You see what's coming up in a couple of days? A gigantic week of college football on Labor Day weekend. Let's talk about it next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
I want you to promise me something. I want you to play life just like you played that game today. So when that final buzzer of life goes off, you'll have no regrets.
1010XL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, Niall Lawrence Stample, national champion and owner of NLS Cleaning here, where we offer pressure washing, gutter cleaning, and paver sealing, plus window cleaning. Football season is back. Get 20% off your first service when you mention this ad through September 30th. Call 708-8802.
Summer turns the corner, and we prepare for fall with a new season of college football. 1010XL's College Football Kickoff Week is cranked up by AA Automotive on Richard Street. Family run since 1954.
Jacksonville Hickens calling it. Checkmate Coating, my MVP. Tough, slick floors that dominate any space.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
Lee Bryce. What do you know about that tour? Saturday, September 13th, St. Augustine Amphitheater. With special guests Ashley Cook and Lewis Bryce. Award-winning country sensation Lee Bryce. On sale now at AXS.com. Don't miss Lee Bryce Live.
For over 55 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods has proudly served Jacksonville from the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard. From archery to hunting and fishing, they've got the gear, service, and know-how to get you outdoor ready. Stop by their full-service archery pro shop and check out their wide selection of firearms. And while you're there, sign up for their weekly concealed weapon classes. You can find it all at greenacresporting.com.
Hello, Jacksonville. This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, we know not every injury happens on Sundays. Sometimes it's flag football, weekend yard work, or just playing with your kids. That's why we built a team of fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons, experts in everything from knees and shoulders to spine and sports injuries. Whether you're chasing championships or chasing your dog, we've got you. Learn more at osjax.com. That's osjax.com.
At Keon Atlantic, the savings are back in session. You'll just need to follow these simple rules to make the most of your back to school. Step 1, switch out your car for an upgrade. Step 2, drive a new Kia starting at $20K. Step 3, make no payments for a whole 90 days. Hurry in to start back to school in a big way. Online at KeonAtlantic.com. Keon Atlantic, your coastal Kia connection. For complete details, call 904-250-0587.
If you're 35 to 75, you could get life insurance today. No medical exam needed. I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial. One call could protect your family for life. Call me today, 904-885-9566.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. After Dark on 1010XL.
Oh, college football. You got a little taste of it on Saturday, right? I didn't watch everything, but I watched most of Iowa State, Kansas State. Good game over in Dublin, Ireland. Not as good as the fight after the game. What's that all about? The Kansas State quarterback's dad and brother fought each other in the parking lot, and that was interesting. Not a good day for Kansas State in that regard. Iowa State got the win. Matt Campbell got some stones on him. A couple of really good calls there in the fourth quarter. And then Hawaii, that was fun. Hawaii, Stanford. I don't know if I'll watch another Hawaii game all year, but I enjoyed watching that on Saturday night. But that was an appetizer, man, to what we have coming up from Thursday to Monday this week. Labor Day weekend. Probably the biggest college football weekend of the year, and it just happens to be opening weekend. I mean, you got gigantic games. And I'm not even talking about, Georgia Tech, Colorado, Boise State, USF, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, right? TCU, North Carolina. There's a lot of really good games like that I'm not even mentioning. But when you talk about Texas, Ohio State, when you talk about LSU, Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami, Florida State, Alabama, I mean, good grief, man. Are you kidding me? Spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Big week for the ACC, too. Big opportunity, right? With Clemson hosting LSU, Virginia Tech playing South Carolina. You got Miami hosting Notre Dame, Florida State hosting Alabama. If the ACC wants to put themselves on the map in 2025, they have an opportunity to do it. The SEC looking to assume dominance, but keep in mind, the SEC's gone back-to-back years without a national champion. It just means more in these parts, and I agree with that, and I've never been opposed to being called an SEC homer or an SEC snob, but the fact remains the last two national champions have resided in the Big Ten with Michigan and Ohio State. So can the SEC reassert their dominance? You want to do that? You want to do that pretty quick? Have LSU go into Clemson and beat Clemson on a Saturday night in Clemson, South Carolina. Have Alabama go to Tallahassee and beat Florida State by 30, which I think could happen, by the way. Have South Carolina run roughshod over Virginia Tech. We'll see. Texas, Ohio State. Denmark, I saw this stat. Do you know how many players between Texas and Ohio State were drafted into the NFL this past April from last year's teams?
Texas probably had about 10 or 11. Ohio State probably had about 14. So I'd probably say, 25, 27.
Yeah, right there, 26.
Yep.
So who really knows what that game is going to look like? 26 guys from both of those teams were drafted into the NFL. That doesn't even take into account graduation, transfer portal. Like, I love games like that, but the hype that's getting, we have no idea what Ohio State's going to look like. We don't have much of an idea what Texas is going to look like with Arch Manning. Keep in mind, that was Quinn Ewers' team last year. And as far as Alabama, Florida State, Miami, Notre Dame go, I give Miami much better chance to beat Notre Dame than I certainly give Florida State a chance to beat Alabama. I hate this game for Florida State. I've been thinking about this more and more as the days or the weeks have turned into days. And we're going to talk Florida State. Jeff Colhanes, the play-by-play voice of the Florida State Seminoles, he's going to join me later in the week. I'll give Florida State some love. We'll talk about the game. But I hate the matchup for Florida State. I just think Alabama's strength is Florida State's weakness. Alabama's got wide receivers. Florida State has very little in the secondary. That's probably not a good combination for the Noles. Last month, I had my conversation with Phil Steele. He of the Phil Steele Preseason College Football Magazine. But we only aired it once because I've purposely been saving it for this week. The opening week for the Gators, the Seminoles, the Bulldogs, and the Hurricanes. Let's talk Florida, Florida State, Miami, and Georgia with the best in the business when it comes to preseason publications. Phil Steele joins me next right here on Hacker After Dark.
Check in Tuesdays for Jeff Lageman and Check the Tape Tuesday.
We'll keep you up to date with the latest and NFL news.
Tuesdays during football season on Jaguars Today. Checked by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic, semaglutide injection 0.5 milligrams.
Friday night lights stay bright well after the game. Catch the winning coaches with Hacker and Dylan Denmark.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, the wings are fresh, the drinks are cold, and the game is always on. With 30 bold flavors, ice-cold beer, and handcrafted cocktails, there's no better place to kick back and catch every play. Escape the ordinary. Your home for sports is Hurricane Grill and Wings.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, visit AA Automotive on Richard Street. For oil changes to complex repairs, AA Automotive is a full-service repair shop for personal and commercial fleet vehicles. Trust AA to keep your ride running A-OK.
Florida Gators football on 1010XL is driven by Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. And the law firm of Farah and Farah. Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Plan ahead this year and order your home holiday decorating from Kuhn Flowers. They'll take care of all of your Christmas tree setup, lighting, and decorating hassles too. This is High Flying Jacko. Call on Kuhn Flowers. They'll do it all this fall.
Hey, Hicken here from my friends at Cleaning Freaks at Zero Res. Back to school special with those guys. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $135 plus a free hallway and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and take advantage of these huge savings.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, so here's a reminder to get screened. Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations to help you put your prostate health first. Guys, don't put this one off. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Registration for this year's Flounder Pounder Fishing Tournament benefiting the Jacksonville School for Autism is now open. The best fishing tournament in the 904 is returning to Palm Valley Outdoors Saturday, October 11th. Find tournament info at flounderpounder.com. Don't want to fish? Come watch the weigh-in and enjoy the festivities at Palm Valley Outdoors at the base of the 210 Bridge. Thanks to all the sponsors and anglers for making this tournament great year in and year out.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. You know, there are some things throughout the year where you just know you're getting close to college football season. And one of those is right now. Whenever it's Phil Steele time here on 1010XL, we know the college football season is right around the corner. Of course, Phil Steele of the Phil Steele Preseason College Football Magazine. He's done it for years. I think it's the best preseason publication going. And Phil is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Phil, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing great, Ryan. This is my off season for me. I'm doing 6 to 7 radio shows a day, kicking back, relaxing. No magazine deadline to worry about.
Look, you already did yeoman's work on this year's magazine. I know people are getting it left and right off of bookshelves. Before we dive into the Gators and the Seminoles, the Hurricanes and the Dogs, Phil, let's talk about this year's magazine, what went into it, and more importantly, where college football fans here in Jacksonville can get their hands on it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ryan. We start the Sunday after Thanksgiving and pour 7 months worth of effort into it. I do it in a 3 right-through process. The first right-through is done right after the season's over. I talk about each position, what happened with the position, what's shaped the position, what I said into last year, what happened, and what to look forward to for the upcoming year. Naturally, in the second right-through, which is done pre-spring, you get the last part of that gets rewritten because players have moved and you add players due to the transfer portal. And the third is after talking to the head coaches. And I've talked to 125 about it, 135 head coaches out there. It's been about an hour plus going over the team, and we took that all the way down into the final week. I was talking to coaches because the second transfer portal window put us a little bit behind. So there are a couple of typos in it, but I tell you what, there's over 1 million words and numbers. You get 2 full pages on every team. It's like getting 136 media guides rolled into one. And it's exclusively at Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. Those are the only 2 locations to get it, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. Or you can go to philsteele.com. And when you go to philsteele.com, I'm going to charge you a shipping charge. It costs to ship things. But we give you the digital magazine, a $19.95 value, free with that. And we actually update the digital magazine all the way through September. So Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, philsteele.com. But 7 months of labor went into this magazine.
You know this, I tell you every year, it's the best preseason magazine going. I've gotten it for years. Absolutely love it. We'll tell folks again here in Jacksonville how they can get their hands on the Phil Steele preseason college football magazine in just a moment. Phil, let's dive right into the Florida Gators. You and I spoke about a year ago, and at that time, there was a lot of uncertainty as to Billy Napier's future in Gainesville. Fast forward a year, and now there are even some people, Phil, that are calling Florida perhaps a dark horse college football playoff participant. What are your thoughts on the Gators heading into 2025?
Yeah, and, Ryan, I'll go back to my conversation I had with Coach Napier last year. I said, Coach, my goodness, that schedule, it's the toughest schedule in the country. And he said, Phil, at the end of the year, you might not think that. And the reason for that is he thought they would do better against the schedule than they did, come up with a few more wins than expected. And at the end of the year, I still had it top 10, but I rated it number 9. And that's because of the way they finished last year. Napier was on the hot seat after some early losses, but the way they knocked off LSU, Ole Miss, and then won their final 2 games to finish 8-5 against that schedule last year really showed a lot. I love the way that they brought in DJ Lagway, a quarterback. Lagway, if he's 100% healthy this year, and I think he will be, should be one of the top quarterbacks in the country. You look at the run game led by Jaden Baugh, a guy that had nearly 700 yards on the ground last year, should have an even better year. Remember, he was just a true freshman last season, or was a true freshman last season. And then you look at the receiving core led by J. Michael Sturdivant, who comes in from UCLA, a solid offensive line, and the defense is strong. Now, the schedule remains tough. It's still my number 12 rated schedule in the country, and they've got some killer slates in there, Ryan. At LSU, at Miami, Texas, and at Texas A&M is one 4-game stretch. Georgia later in the year, at Ole Miss, Tennessee. A lot of tough games on the schedule, but as they proved last year, they're getting better each and every year under Napier. They can knock off the big boys, and if they knock off the big boys, yes, indeed, they can be an SEC contender this year.
Phil, it's not the sexiest or most glamorous position, but you talk about Jake Slaughter and Austin Barber on the offensive line, Caleb Banks, Tyreek Sapp on the defensive line, potentially 3 or even 4 first-round picks there in 2026. The Gators have certainly built up the lines of scrimmage.
Yeah, and I think that speaks volumes of the recruiting job that Coach Napier is doing and the retention job as well. And, one of the things I look at, Ryan, when I look at a team is the strength of the line. I rate Florida as the number 5 offensive line in the country and the number 10 defensive line in the country. And if you're strong at the line of scrimmage, you're going to win a lot of football games.
Phil Steele of the Preseason College Football Magazine is with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Phil, it was a disaster in Tallahassee last year, a football disaster. I don't think you and I had any idea when we talked in July of 24 that, 2-10. I'm 41 years old. I've never seen Florida State go through anything like that. I know you talked to Mike Norvell this offseason. He cleaned house with his staff, a new quarterback, a lot of guys out of the transfer portal. What are your thoughts on Florida State heading into the year?
Yeah, what a difference a year makes, huh, Ryan? Coming from an undefeated season the previous year, ACC champions, and down to 2-10. You're right. If you would have given me an over/under total of 3 for Florida State last year, I wouldn't have a house right now, because there's no way Florida State only wins 2 games, but that's what happened. And sometimes it's a snowball atmosphere, and I think if you're heavy in the transfer portal like Florida State is, sometimes you hit home runs. Like, let's go back to 2023 when they went 13-0 before the players departed. And then sometimes, like last year, if you have a whole bunch of new players coming in and things aren't going well, maybe things snowball at the end of the year. But I like Thomas Castellanos, the addition to him at quarterback. I think he gives him a mobility at that position. That's going to be a plus. I like what he did at BC. I don't think he meshed with the offense, what was brought in last year. I think he does mesh with this offense. So I look for big things out of him. I like the running back core with Roydell Williams, Jalen Lucas, and Sawchuk. The offensive line, they bring in some key transfers. The key is going to be, did Norvell hit the home runs with the transfer portal? And it's got a pretty good track record with it. Last year being the exception. I think we'll see an improved Florida State team, but I don't think we're going to see that the double-digit win Florida State team. I think it's going to be tough to get back to that level, but I do think we're going to see Florida State be more than like Florida State, probably an 8 or 9 win year coming off last year's 2-win total, and they are my number 1 most improved team in the country this year.
Did you like the hire of Gus Malzahn as the offensive coordinator, Phil?
Love the hire. I think given him, I'm talking to Coach Malzahn when he was at UCF and all the things the head coach goes through, having him just concentrate on the offense, wow, that's going to be outstanding. And I also like the hire of Tony White on defense. Coming over from Nebraska, they had top 10 defenses the last 2 years without quite the personnel that you would expect.
Couple more for Phil Steele of the Preseason Phil Steele College Football Magazine. Phil, let's round out the state, going down to South Florida and talking about the Hurricanes. The Carson Beck era of Miami football gets underway. Obviously, big shoes to fill, replacing Cam Ward. And, Phil, we're going to know pretty quick about Miami as they have Notre Dame and Florida in the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. We are going to find out about Miami right in the first month. And, Carson Beck is a guy who Coach Cristobal is very high on, feels he's driven and that he's very smart. And keep in mind, Georgia last year led the country in drop passes and didn't protect very well. Well, he's got a better receiving core to throw to here, bringing in a guy like C.J. Daniels from LSU at wide receiver, having a Trader there already. A guy that was one of the top freshmen coming out of high school last year, got his feet wet last year. I look for a big year out of him. The offensive line looks very solid. Cooper and Mayaga at the guard and tackle spots are outstanding, and the defense looks solid as well. And Mario Cristobal is a guy that's just hitting that portal all the time. He's always looking to add players, and I think he's doing a really good job building this team. It's a little disappointing they didn't get to the playoff last year. I think had they held on against Syracuse in the season final and won that game, they would have been in the playoff, would have at least been in the ACC title game, and they've got that opportunity again this year. The key is going to be, what kind of year does Carson Beck have? But I can tell you, Cristobal is very confident in the fact that he's going to have a good year.
Phil, as we make the turn for home, let's get a thought about Georgia from you. And it's interesting in the people that I've talked to that cover that team for their standards. I'm not saying they're totally under the radar, but for the Georgia standards of the last couple of years, people love Texas. People love Clemson, LSU, Alabama a little bit. Is Georgia, by their standard, maybe a little under the radar coming into the season?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, you go back and take a look at the last 5 years, they have always been a preseason top 5 team at the end of the year. The last 2 years, preseason number 1 at the end of the year. And I think Texas is going to be the preseason favorite to win the SEC this year. when the media poll votes. And Georgia will be close. They'll be up there. And I think if you look at this Georgia team, you do have some question marks at quarterback. Gunnar Stockton should do well. They lose their top 2 receivers from last year, so you have a little question mark there. There's no star power on defense. There's not those big names that they normally have. But this Georgia team, I think, is completely under the radar. I think Stockton will have a good year. The offensive line should be improved over last year. And like the receiving core, it is upgraded over last season. And defensively, Glenn Schumann's doing a great job over there. And this is an underrated group that goes deep. I mean, they use their 3 deep the entire game. I think they'll have one of the best Ds. Now, why did Georgia not have the usual success last year? Well, look at that schedule. They had to play Alabama, Texas, and Ole Miss all on the road last year. Guess what? Their toughest 3 games are, again, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas, but they get all 3 teams at home, and they haven't lost between the hedges the last 5 years. I actually have Georgia favored in all 12 games this year, and they're my pick to win the SEC, and I like the fact they're a little bit under the radar, Ryan.
Final moments with Phil Steele. All right, Phil, as we wrap up, I want to talk about the magazine at the end as well, certainly. You mentioned you think Georgia's going to win the SEC. What is your thought about Florida and the SEC overall? And same question, Florida State and Miami in the ACC. How do you see them stacking up?
Yeah, Florida, I've got ranked 17th in the country. Actually, number 10 in my power poll. They'd be higher if they didn't have such a killer schedule. I do look at the fact they play LSU, Miami, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M all away from home. But I've got them tied for 7th in the SEC just due to the schedule factor. With Florida State this year, I think they get back towards the top of the ACC. As mentioned, I don't think they're at the top. I've got them in 4th. There are 3 really good teams, Clemson, Miami, and SMU I have at the very top of it. But I've got Florida State tied for 4th, which would be a big bounce-back year. With Miami, they're a legitimate ACC title contender, like they were last year. I think it's a very talented team, capable of being up there. Coming into the season, I only have them ranked 14th, but it wouldn't surprise me if they contend for that top ACC spot this year.
Phil, final question. The Big Ten has won back-to-back national championships. Is there pressure on the SEC to kind of regain their throne this season?
I think there is a little bit of pressure because of the fact that, how many times has the SEC gone 3 straight years without winning a national title? That would be pretty tough. So I think there is a little bit of pressure. And if you look at my conference ratings, I've got the Big Ten, the SEC right up there at the top spot as they are. And really, Ryan, when you look at college football overall, it's the Big Ten, the SEC, then a drop-off, then it's the ACC and the Big 12.
It's the best preseason college football magazine going, has been so for many, many years. Phil Steele. Phil, again, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about the magazine and where they can find it.
I appreciate that, Ryan. The magazine, as mentioned, exclusively Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. We used to be all over the place. It's a lot better having it exclusive like this. Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. Get them before they get sold out there. Or you can go online to philsteele.com. That's STEELE.com. When you go to philsteele.com, I'm going to charge you a shipping charge. But what we do is we give you the digital version absolutely free, and the digital version to go along with your magazine. And the digital version is actually updated all the way through the month of September. So Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or philsteele.com.
He's the best in the business, Phil Steele of the Phil Steele Preseason College Football Magazine. Phil, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it, buddy, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds great, Ryan. Appreciate you having me on, and always enjoy our conversations, my friend.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, got a minute?
Always. What's on your mind?
This time of year, my air conditioner is running nonstop. Hot all day, hot all night. It has to run constantly just to keep up.
Well, that's what they do.
But if something happens to it in the middle of a 2-week heat wave, I'm in trouble, Jason. I can't wait 3 days or 2 days or even the next day for service. If you can't get someone here today, I'm sweating by tonight. What if it breaks, Jason?
You call me, pal. That's what we do. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
But you're probably swamped with calls from everyone else's AC that ran nonstop and then broke in a heat wave, so they called you because that's what you do.
But we always have room for an emergency. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, We have tech standing by because we know these things happen.
So I don't need to worry. Wow. That time you calmed me down without even using the sunglasses.
Oh, I was reaching for them.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of certified vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $89.99. Plus, they come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile peace of mind warranty and free oil changes. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine, Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, or Beaver Mitsubishi in St. Augustine. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
Looking for your new favorite hangout this football season? Try Voodoo Brewing Company in the heart of San Marco. Locally owned and community focused, Voodoo Brewing serves up award-winning beers, scratch-made upscale pub fare, and laid-back vibes where everyone's welcome. For live music, trivia nights, and all the football action this season, make Voodoo Brewing Company Jacksonville your new favorite spot on San Marco Square.
Fall is here. The air is crisp. Football is on, and the perfect backyard atmosphere starts with a high-quality fireplace from CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Hey, it's Joe C. Imagine nights by the fire, cheering on your team, surrounded by friends and family. CSS can transform your outdoor space into the ultimate game day destination. Stylish, warm, and built for memories. With several wood, gas, and electric options, let CSS make your backyard the best seat in the house. Visit CSSFireplaces.com.
For over 55 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods has proudly served Jacksonville from the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard. From archery to hunting and fishing, they've got the gear, service, and know-how to get you outdoor ready. Stop by their full-service archery pro shop and check out their wide selection of firearms. And while you're there, sign up for their weekly concealed weapon classes. You can find it all at greenacresporting.com.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dr. Kevin Kaplan, team physician for the Jaguars and proud member of Jacksonville's newest orthopedic dream team. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, we brought together 10 board-certified, fellowship-trained surgeons, each one a specialist in their field, all working together to deliver smarter, faster care with better results. From sports injuries to joint replacements, we've got the right player for every position. Visit osjax.com and meet your team. That's osjax.com.
Jax is more than a city, beaches, suburbs, or a destination. We're a community that takes care of each other. I'm former Jaguar Tom McManus. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling is dedicated to serving you with respect and integrity. We haul construction debris or property cleanouts for managers, owners, and realtors. We do it all. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We're here for you. We're veteran-owned and operated. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Thank you to Phil Steele for joining us again. Florida, Florida State, Miami, and Georgia all began their seasons this weekend. You'll, of course, hear the Gator game against Long Island University. LIU coming to the Swamp. You'll hear that game Saturday night right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We're 13 days away from hearing the Jacksonville Jaguars here on 1010XL. The opener against the Carolina Panthers, that's when the debut of the fifth quarter will take place as well, with myself, Leon Searcy, and our new coach, of course, Dave Campo, who we had on earlier, moving back to Dallas. We had to fill the coach's seat. And Gerald Ingram, a man that has won not one but 2 Super Bowls as a running backs coach with the New York Football Giants. 18 years as an NFL running backs coach. Coach Gerald Ingram joins Leon Searcy and myself for the fifth quarter this year. That debuts September 7th. But the Jaguars have to do some things before that day. And one of the things they have to do is tomorrow. They have to go down to 53 players by 4 o'clock tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be very active, a very active news day, because we only reportedly saw 2 guys today that got released or waived. That's Johnny Wolford and DeAndre Prince. That leaves 35 guys the Jaguars have to cut or waive by 4 o'clock tomorrow. Let's talk about that aspect, but more so, let's talk about Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter and what this roster looks like moving into 2025 and what this roster looks like in comparison to the rest of the AFC South. One of my buddies that does that very well and has so for many years is Cody Carpentier. He of Roster Watch, among many other outlets. And Cody joins me next to talk about this year's Jaguar roster, and let's compare it to the Titans, the Colts, and the Texans. Where is this roster in the hierarchy of the AFC South? Cody Carpentier of Roster Watch, next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
If your house feels like a Florida swamp and your thermostat's just throwing out suggestions, then it's time to call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
They showed up fast, fixed it right, and even cleaned up after. My house is finally chilled, and so am I.
Whether your AC needs a quick fix, a full replacement, or just a little TLC, Duck Duck Air Conditioning has got you covered with fast and honest service. Call 904-862-6769 to get your cool back, or online at duckduckac.com. When your AC is stuck, call the Duck.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 25th, 1981, Mark McGwire hit his very first major league home run.
The 3-2 pitch to McGwire, swinging a high fly ball belted.
The 42nd annual Wave Masters Pro-Am Surf Contest, presented by Favorite Gray, is Jacksonville's largest surf event and returning to the Jacksonville Beach Pier on October 4th. 20 grand in cash will be given away for the Marker 32 Longboard Pro, the Takaloo Men's Pro, and the US Assure Women's Pro. Enter at Sunrise or Aqua Surf Shops today if you want to compete. The 42nd annual Wave Masters Pro-Am, October 4th at the Jacksonville Beach Pier. Come watch the best surfers in Northeast Florida compete.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your national builder of the year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has branched off from on-road to off-road. Give us the latest on what they've got.
They've got the 250 and the 450. Rick Carmichael designed these bikes himself, and they are bad to the bone.
So you're talking about a really cool effect from a bike off-road that Triumph had on-road forever.
It is, and it's out there winning races, and it is fun to ride.
Check it out, Cycles of Jacksonville, their showroom on Atlantic near Regency, or online on their Facebook page.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden Eye & Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like EVO implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bow 9 Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Training camp and the preseason basically in the rearview mirror, right? We're roughly 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL regular season. A lot of decisions still to be made here in Jacksonville. One thing that's become pretty clear, though, with all the change that happened on this roster, it appears the Jaguars have found some maybe diamonds in the rough with some of these younger players on the 2025 team. Let's talk about all of it with Cody Carpentier of Roster Watch. He does a terrific job covering the NFL and the NFL draft, and Cody is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Cody, how you doing, man?
Ryan, I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on, as always, in one of the best cities in America, one of the most underrated cities in America, Jacksonville. So I appreciate it.
Well, absolutely, buddy. And we know how busy you are, so thank you, as always, for the time. All right, you and I haven't spoke in about 2 months, I believe. Right around OTAs was the last time we talked, and certainly a lot has transpired here in Jacksonville. But just a broad overview, Cody, with your work with Roster Watch, I mean, there's no question the overturn on this roster in Jacksonville has been massive from last year to this year. When you take in everything, the free agents, the rookies, everything you've seen, what is your overall thought on the Jaguar roster entering 2025?
Well, I think I'd be lying if I didn't say I listened to some of your tidbits from yesterday talking about the bottom of the roster and the churn of how much stronger the bottom of the roster is. And I think I love that. I agree with that 100% and what Gladstone's been able to do. From a roster that, we look at a year ago that was bottom 10 in pass defense and coverage grades and PFF and things of this nature. And, we've been talking for a couple of years now. It's like, draft has always been, can they draft the trenches? Can they fulfill the trenches on offense and on defense? And they have a couple of offensive linemen coming in the draft. They go get a couple of free agents to come in on the offensive line. The defensive line, they just traded for Kalen Sanders. Like Saunders, I think that's interesting. I think in totality, you just can see names. There's a couple more names on here on the depth chart for the Jacksonville Jaguars this year than there has been the last couple of years from a depth perspective. Yes, you've seen the Gabe Davis contracts and you've seen the Christian Kirk contracts and these other positions where they've spent money. But now it's about like getting guys that, can play football, like a Robert Hainsey, even like a Johnny Munt that can just come in and that guy can run block at the tight end position, things like that. Like Kalen Saunders, that's not a big splashy move, but it's a guy that can fit in that rotation and play some good football. So I think that more than anything has been the biggest standout to me outside of course, the big draft pick in Travis Hunter this spring.
I'll give you a prime example to that point. You look at post-draft on the defensive side of the ball, the Jaguars have gone out and got Emmanuel Ogbah, Dawuane Smoot, Dennis Gardeck, Austin Johnson, and we talk about Colin Saunders in the most recent trade from New Orleans. Cody, that's 5 guys all on defense that they've signed since April 27th or later, and I think all 5 are going to make the 53-man roster.
I guess that has to tell you a lot about what Gladstone thinks about the guys that have been on the roster the last couple of years, including a couple of those draft picks, right? They're not going to carry obviously 10 defensive tackles and things like this. So it's interesting, definitely, given that they have a couple of first-round picks in Travon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. But those are proven. That's the thing. Is like those aren't hot names. Like Dawuane Smoot and Austin Johnson coming from Buffalo. Like those aren't hot names, but those are dudes that fit into the rotation. Austin Johnson was a grown man coming out of Penn State. And Emmanuel Ogbah has had a couple of good years in Miami where he's just like extended his career after playing in Cleveland. Like these are dudes. Kalen Saunders won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not about having, the superstar talent, which you do have in a couple of these edge rushers. And, Eric Armstead has the big name and the big power and stuff like this. But bringing in the depth that can rotate for you in the third quarter and the early fourth quarter to make sure that your studs are there full-fledged in the last 10 minutes of the game, I think that's very important, and I think it goes with the offensive line as well. With I was reading a report, I think it was maybe a week or two ago. I unfortunately was not able to make it down and see you at Jaguars training camp this year. But there was a report that Chuma Edogbia was getting some starting reps ahead of Patrick Mekari at right guard. Like, that kind of told me, I was like, man, the last couple of years, I feel like I wouldn't have seen that. Fred Johnson getting opportunities on, with the starting unit. I feel like I wouldn't have seen that in the last couple of years.
Oh, it's a good point. Cody Carpenter of Roster Watch, and I think Edogbia and Mekari are still probably in a little bit of a battle. I would expect Mekari to probably win that job, but it has been tough. And Chuma Edogbia is a guy that they brought in from Dallas, and I know they love him. And I want to get to the main guys, the Trevor Lawrences, the Travis Hunters of the world with you, Cody, in a moment. But first and foremost, Jonah Monheim is a guy, a center from Southern Cal. The Jaguars took him in round number 7. I know they were ecstatic when they drafted him in round 7. They had him much higher than that, in their opinion. And I think they traded Luke Fortner in large part to what they already think about Monheim. And you combine Monheim with another 7th rounder with Quint Allen Jr., the running back from Syracuse. Boy, those 2 7th rounders, to me, are absolute locks to make the 53-man roster, which is not something you normally say about 7th-round selections.
That's an interesting thought there on the Quint Allen, because, to me, and I guess from the outside looking in of what Jacksonville did in the draft, I was like, man, that's really interesting, because I like Bashal Tutin. Bashal Tutin's got great pop, good flash, good sizzle. And you take LeQuint Allen later on, who brings a little bit more of that upright runner, downhill, can get between the tackles. And I was like, man, it kind of feels like, Tutin could be your next, he could not be your next ETN, but fulfill ETN. And LeQuint Allen, if all things go right, could be, the new Bigsby. And you just move on from those two and bring in these new 2 guys. And that felt like it was like too good to be true. Like, well, that's not going to happen. They're not going to. But when I hear that, what I see from Bashal Tutin through the first couple of days or the first couple of games, where, he's got 19 touches this preseason and 18 of them go for positive play. Like, 1 negative play rushing the ball or touching the ball. And he was touched behind the line of scrimmage on 6 of those 19, and no negative plays for Bashal Tutin. I think that combo of running backs right there, I'd love to hear what you think, because you're down there every single day in the streets. But like, I just wonder if either one of these, ETN or Bigsby are potentially, on a market, kind of like Brian Robinson's situation. From the Jonah Monheim situation and perspective, you go out and get Robert Hainsey. I think Robert Hainsey's a really good football player to play center. And Jonah Monheim is just icing on the cake, right? This guy was honorable mention All Pac-12 a couple of times, 3rd team All Big Ten this last year, started a bunch of games across multiple positions, right tackle, right guard, left tackle, center, all at USC. It's a really good football player that, as he dealt with a couple of things through his career, and he redshirted, it took him a while to really get there. He's not the biggest, right? He's got short arms, small hands. He's 302. He's not the biggest dude, but that doesn't always matter, right? Jason Kelce was not always the biggest dude. He was often the smallest dude, but he got work done, and he got in there and grinded through it. And that's what these 7th rounders take.
Cody Carpenter of Roster Watch. Back to the running back point. I think they're going to keep 4 running backs. I think that's the plan right now. But ETN's coming into a contract year. I can't imagine he would be back next year, barring something unforeseen right now. But I think they are going to carry 4 running backs on their 53, which is going to be interesting, because that's going to cost somebody else a job at another spot on the roster. Big picture, Cody, as well, Trevor Lawrence. I think that his preseason was very productive. The fumble in New Orleans aside, he got tripped and he should have just eaten the ball, and that was the one bad moment. But outside of that, I mean, we're talking 14 of 17. Now, granted, they were playing backups in Pittsburgh and backups in New Orleans. So you put that into perspective. But from a Jaguar fan point of view, what you wanted to see from Trevor Lawrence in the preseason, Cody, I imagine you probably saw that, correct?
I think so. I think Trevor Lawrence knows where he's at. I think the weaponry's in a better place than I think it was even a year ago. I'm a big fan of Parker Washington. I think obviously everybody's a big fan of Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter. From the outside, I don't know, you could probably fix me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like Travis Hunter feels like he's going to be like 75-25 offense to defense, 80-20 type of situation. Could be wrong there, but it feels like that. And I think that only elevates this offense around Trevor Lawrence. And the Liam Cohen thing, I'm not sure you're going to fully see it or be able to see it in training camp or in preseason games as much as you will in season, like we've seen with Baker the last couple of years with Liam Cohen in Tampa. But I think that's going to have a massive change and elevation to, not that it needed to be a massive elevation per se with Trevor Lawrence getting back to that 4,000 yard conversation, north of 25, get up to 30 touchdown passes. Like, I think those things are well in the conversation for Trevor Lawrence. He was top 10 in MVP voting just 3 years ago. Like, you just need a rejuvenation of the talent, the weaponry, and coaching around you. And I have full belief in Trevor Lawrence, man. And I had this thought while I was thinking through some Jaguar thoughts the other day, and it was, would it shock me at all if Jacksonville is sitting at the top of this division at the end of the year? Like, I know Houston is going to get all the conversation right now, and CJ Stroud had a down year last year. He should bounce back with a new coordinator and blah, blah, blah. But when I was going through and comparing rosters, across all divisions, but this division in itself, I'm sitting here looking at Jacksonville and Houston, and from a talent perspective, I think Jacksonville right now is ahead of Houston from an overall offensive perspective. And a lot of people will just point to quarterback right away and say, well, Stroud's better than Lawrence. And so, they kind of forget a little bit. I've become a big fan of Trevor Lawrence because I think he's underrated now.
Yeah, look, I agree with you, and I've said that all along. The AFC South, as we wrap up with Cody Carpenter of Roster Watch, the AFC South is a dumpster fire. I mean, Tennessee is, rebuilding. I like Cam Ward, but let's be honest. Yep. They got Calvin Ridley and basically nothing else at wide receiver. Indianapolis, Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard just put all their chips in there for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is going to decide whether those guys get fired or not at the end of the season. That's where Indy is. And Houston, CJ Stroud's great, and I like the defense. Outside of Nico Collins, all due respect to Christian Kirk, he's gotten hurt the last couple of years, and I absolutely hate the Texan offensive line. It's not crazy to think that a 4-win team last year could compete for a division. Now, will Jacksonville win it? I don't know, but I think they're going to compete. And the AFC South is one of the only divisions where I think you could honestly say that.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock you. That's the big thing. It would not shock you in the slightest. I understand the Houston defense, for all intents and purposes, could be looked at as the best, overall unit in the division. But when you stack up those offenses head to head, I think you mentioned, Christian Kirk, like as much as everyone loves him and I like him, he's a great dude and a really good football player. Health is wealth. And when he was the pseudo number 2 in Jacksonville, just, the last 2 years, it's like, well, Parker Washington now fixes in there. They go get De'Ami Brown. Travis Hunter is a clear upgrade at the number 2 wide receiver position. It's like the weaponry conversation, and don't even get me started with running back with Houston right now. Like it's really not a conversation on offense between Houston and Jacksonville. So yeah, I think, is there a chance that a 4-win team could win the division this year? 100% would not shock me.
Cody, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about Roster Watch and what they can expect when they head on over to the website.
You can get everything over at rosterwatch.com, man. We cover the NFL and college football 365 days a year. Our famous tool is the world famous draft kit for those that play fantasy football. Go to rosterwatch.com. You get the ultimate draft cheat sheet. It's simple, 3 rules. Check the player off the list. Draft the highest ranked player. But we put our name next to that because for 365 days we're traveling around to training camps, to the combine, to pro days, doing all the footwork to kind of get the good people in the know. So, Ryan, I always appreciate you.
Cody, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out. We'll talk soon, pal.
Always appreciate it.
And thank you to Cody Carpenter of Roster Watch for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as the preseason is in the rearview mirror. The cuts have already started coming in all over the league. Officially, at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon is when every NFL team has to go from 90 down to 53. But as we saw earlier today and Sunday, a lot of cuts have already come in throughout the National Football League. And here in Jacksonville, all eyes now begin pointing towards the Carolina Panthers. Sunday, September 7th, we are 13 days away from the Jaguar opener. We'll hear from Jaguar General Manager James Gladstone. That comes up on Wednesday afternoon. The Jaguars back at the Miller Electric Center on Thursday for practice. I'll be down there on Thursday. Looking forward to that. And college football will take center stage this weekend, certainly. But then the Jaguars and the Panthers, Sunday, September 7th. That will also be the debut of the fifth quarter this year here on 1010XL, 2 hours after every Jaguar game. And I'm certainly looking forward to being a part of that for another season here on the radio station. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Monday night here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Cody Carpentier of Roster Watch. Always enjoy talking NFL football. Always enjoy talking Jaguar football with my buddy Cody. He does a terrific job covering the NFL and the NFL draft for Roster Watch, and we appreciate Cody taking time out for us this evening. Thank you to Phil Steele of the Phil Steele Preseason College Football Magazine. Talked to Phil last month when that magazine came out. We brought you a Hacker After Dark replay of that conversation now that we are here. Labor Day weekend, opening day for Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Miami, and so many others throughout college football. So I thought it'd be good to replay that Phil Steele conversation. And, of course, you can still get his preseason magazine on newsstands at Barnes & Noble, the best preseason magazine going. And we always thank Phil for joining us here on Hacker After Dark. And a big thank you to my buddy Dave Campo. Coach joined me earlier on. Coach is moving back to Dallas later on this week. And I just wanted to have the coach on tonight basically to say thank you. He's been so good to me on the radio station, joining me countless times. Monday night coaching with Campo. Of course, I did the fifth quarter with him along with Leon Searcy. Became really good friends with Coach, and that friendship will continue. We're going to still have Coach on, certainly during the year. But what Jacksonville is losing, Dallas is gaining, as Coach and his wife are moving back out to the Dallas area to be closer to their children and their grandchildren. But Coach Campo, you are the man. Thank you, sir. I'll miss you, brother, but we will talk very, very soon. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Tuesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.